All right, so now we're going to talk about the muted chop, the offbeat. We're going to talk about vamping, and it's pretty simple, but it's very exacting. All right, so in bluegrass music, you have the downbeat, which is generally played by the bass. So when you hear the bass, you're hearing it boom, 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 and that's pretty much what the bass needs to do. And you'll notice when the bass player plays that after he plays a note, he mutes it, okay? Because you want that to last as long, that note to be as short as possible. So you don't want sustain in there, okay? And you'll even see them kind of jerk at the string. So boom, 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 boom. And then you have the offbeat, which is done by the mandolin or the banjo. And so it goes boom, boom, chunk, boom, chunk, boom, chunk, okay? Now, the offbeat is extraordinarily critical to the music because it is what gives the music the drive. So if you don't have a strong, clear offbeat, the music is not going to have the energy that you would like it to have, all right? So I'm going to give you a couple examples. So if I'm going to even sing a little bit, but I'm a terrible singer, but out of key, all that stuff, but anyway, so if I'm playing, so here's one chuck here. This is going down that road feeling bad. Yes, I'm going down that road really bad. Okay, so that's, now you can even get fancier. Going down that road feeling bad. Yes, now I'm gonna play it a different way. I'm gonna play just a simple tune. Going down that road feeling bad. Yes, I'm going down. Now, I'm going to do this again. And listen carefully and determine what you would like to have if you were the singer. Going down that road feeling bad. Yes, I'm going down that road feeling bad. In case you have any doubts about it, what happens when you play this type of chunk and the singer's singing, they have to work really, really hard, and they can't really use dynamics. Dynamics mean you go softer, like if I'm talking, and then I increase my voice, that's dynamics. And okay, if you're singing and you're singing, going down that road, feeling bad, and you can't have any dynamics because this chop is covering up things, all right? So the singer is not only working much harder, it doesn't sound as good, okay? In fact, it sounds terrible. Now, if you're playing the muted chop up in this area, going down, see, the singer can sing really softly, they can sing loud, whatever they want to, and they're not straining, okay? Now, let's talk about how to get that type of sound, all right? So here we go, and I'm going to do it one more time. This is incorrect, so. Okay. That's not that exaggerated from what I hear. Okay, so now when you're doing the muted chop, and you want to get it really precise, the first thing you have to do is start listening to what's going on. So you can watch somebody in a jam, and if they're doing this and you can see that they are really concentrating and they're trying to make sure that every beat, every chop is exactly the same as every other one. It's the same volume, same intensity, it falls exactly on the beat. And you get this by concentrating. You can even play this with a metronome if you really want to perfect it, okay? Now here's normally what you see is some guys going down that road. In other words, they're not really concentrating. And even if you're playing a nice chop down here, see, instead of going, okay, now that click is very piercing and will cut through about anything. You actually could play. You could actually play one note only. You could play the first string only. That's only the first string. Go. Okay, now we don't want it like that. We want it just a nice click. Okay. Now normally I'll use two fingers. Okay, index and middle. Okay. Now as you move this left hand around, you'll notice that it sounds different depending on where your right hand is and depending on what key you're in and what instruments are playing. See how you're getting all kind of different textures? Once again, you're listening very carefully to that perfect place. Okay, I happen to like that sound the best. Now, the mandolin and the banjo and sometimes the fiddle tend to do this. So if the mandolin's doing this and starts to take a break, then you've got to step in and keep that going. Because if you don't, the entire drive will just drop out of the music and it will lose a lot of its energy. Okay? Okay? So hopefully I've shown you what most people do. I've shown you the correct way up in this. I've shown you to listen carefully. You don't have to play it really hard. Banjo's really loud, okay? And the last thing I'll say is if you've got a bass player or guitar player, you can look at the bass player and you can see the bass player's hand, okay? Boom, boom. And you key on, you look at that bass player very intently and you just lock in. Boom, chunk, boom. If you don't have a bass player, then you can look at the guitar player and hopefully they're playing a good rhythm. So boom, chunk, boom, chunk, boom. So you lock into the guitar. Okay? Now, if you really concentrate and make a commitment to do this, the band eventually will have to join you. And usually one person might lock in with you and then the other people lock in. All right, so I hope that I've communicated this to you and that you, next time you go to a jam or you're playing in a band, that you do that. And as a result, hopefully other members of the band start listening as well and play more simple things. Okay? So the basic rhythm is boom, chunk, boom, chunk, boom, chunk. This lets the other members concentrate on what they're doing, and it lets them play with dynamics too. Notice I'm playing. See, if I was playing that light and you had somebody chopping like that, that chopping would totally cover me up. So as you're playing within the group, listen carefully and make sure that whatever you're adding to that mixture is helping the lead player to sound better. And that's it. So I'll talk to you later.